If you're an F1 fan, you know this sport is no joke. It's considered the hardest sport in the world. With cars that could reach the top speed of almost 400 kilometers per hour in just 2 seconds, these cars are extremely technical to drive, so drivers are not just sitting comfortably behind the wheel every racing weekend. It's definitely exhilarating to watch. Hi there and welcome to Luxio. In this video, we're checking out some incredibly amazing F1 cars that are worth millions. But before we begin, click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you won't miss out on more of our awesome videos. Formula 1 is an expensive sport. Inside these magnificent cars that are designed to flow through the air are expensive engines and other parts. Over the years, there are technical and visual changes developed in the cars following each year's new set of regulations. Let's check out some of the Formula 1 cars that are worth millions in this collection. First up is a Lotus 99T. Produced in 1987, this vibrant yellow car was used by the legendary Ayrton Senna, which made him secure so many podium finishes. This was the first Lotus Formula 1 vehicle to be powered by a Honda engine, the RA166E V6 Turbo, which was unveiled at an event in London on 3 February 1987. The return of computer-controlled active suspension, which Lotus had been working on for several years and had already been seen in a less advanced version on Type 92 of 1983, was another significant modification under the skin. It is widely regarded as Lotus founder Colin Chapman's final outstanding Formula 1 invention. Next is the Williams FW15C. This is a Renault-powered Formula 1 car designed by Adrian Newey and built by Williams Grand Prix Engineering. It was raced by Alain Prost and Damon Hill during the 1993 Formula 1 season. The FW15C, together with its racing predecessor, the FW14B, was considered the most technologically advanced Formula 1 car of all time in 2005, with anti-lock brakes, traction control, active suspension, and semi-automatic and fully automatic gearboxes. This car was driven by triple world champion Alain Prost. Two FW15C chassis were modified in early 1994 to run without electronic driving aids, which were prohibited in 1994. The FW15D was a test car with no traction control and passive suspension. Senna and Hill put the cars through their paces in January 1994, but the car was far from perfect because it was built around an active suspension system. On January 19, 1994, the FW15D was utilized during the Rottmans-Williams Renault launch in Estoril, notably with Damon Hill. Let's move on to the McLaren MP410. Designed and built by McLaren for the 1995 Formula 1 season, this was driven by Mika Häkkinen, Mark Blundell, Nigel Mansell, and Jan Magnussen. The chassis was designed by Neil Oatley, Steve Nichols, Matthew Jeffries, David North, David Nilsson, Paddy Lowe, and Henry Durand, with Mario Elland designing the bespoke Limor V10 engine. The team eventually finished fourth in the Constructors' Championship with 30 points. The McLaren MP410 was the first McLaren car to run mobile fuel before rebranding to Esso in 2015, beginning with the McLaren MP430. Next is the McLaren MP420. This car was designed and built by McLaren for the Formula 1 season in 2005. Adrian Newey, Paddy Lowe, Pat Fry, Mike Hoagland, and Peter Prodomo developed the chassis, while Mario Elland created the bespoke Limor 3.0-liter V10 engine. Kimi Raikkonen and Juan Pablo Montoya were the drivers. Since the 1995 season, the MP420 was the last McLaren car to be powered by Mercedes-Benz under the Limor relationship. The 2005 regulations require this car to have updated aerodynamics and suspension, which included a higher front wing, a smaller diffuser, and a rear wing that was relocated forward. To maximize the performance of the Michelin tires, a shorter wheelbase was chosen. The car was modified with unusual horn wings behind the overhead air intake in an attempt to claw back as much downforce as possible. The wide flat nose design was used on the MP419 at the 2004 Italian Grand Prix, although it was not kept for the remainder of the season. It was completely utilized for 2005. The McLaren MP414. This is the Formula One car used by the McLaren Mercedes team in the 1999 Formula One World Championship. The MP414 was the season's quickest car, with even better aerodynamics than the previous year's all-conquering MP413, while the Mercedes engine remained the most powerful on the field. However, due to major reliability issues and driver errors, Ferrari was able to win the Constructors' Championship. Mika Häkkinen, who would go on to win the 1999 World Championship, and British driver David Coulthard drove it. Nick Heidfeld was their test driver. The McLaren MP424. The McLaren MP424 is a Formula One car that was developed by McLaren for the 2009 season. On January 16, 2009, the car was unveiled at the team's walking headquarters, and defending world champion Lewis Hamilton and Heikki Kovalainen drove it to third place in the Constructors' World Championship. The MP424 won 2 of the 17 races that season, both in the hands of Hamilton. Brawn won 8 races, Red Bull Racing 5, and Ferrari 1. With an engine displacement of 2400 cc and a Mercedes F138W 2.4-liter V8 engine, this car brought 2 wins. Now we have the Ferrari F399. It wasn't a revolutionary car, but rather a sophisticated progression of the F300, with the same high exhaust, a third front shock absorber to limit roll, electronically controlled power steering, and a redesigned rear suspension. The engine was a 048, which was a little lighter than the 047 and had a few additional horsepower for good measure. The experts had optimized the aerodynamics even further, improving the connection between drag and downforce, which was comparable to raising the horsepower even more while putting less stress on the engine, which was already enviably reliable. This, at long last, yielded results. For the first time in 16 years, with the aid of the F399, Ferrari won the Constructors' Championship in 1999, thanks to Michael Schumacher, Eddie Irvine, and Mika Salo. McLaren MP426. McLaren Racing designed the McLaren MP426 car for the 2011 Formula One season. Lewis Hamilton, the 2008 World Champion, and Jenson Button, the 2009 World Champion, drove the car. The car was unveiled on 4 February 2011 at Berlin's Potsdamer Platz, just after the season's first test session in Valencia. The MP426 shows a number of distinctive features. Instantly noticeable are the outboard side pods. The long wheelbase and U-shaped side pods are probably the most obvious things. The thinking behind that is to feed as much good quality air as possible to the rear lower main plane and the floor of the car. Next we have the Ferrari F138. The Ferrari F138 was a Formula One racing car that Ferrari entered in the 2013 season. Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa drove the car, which was unveiled on February 1, 2013, at the team's Maranello headquarters. The car's moniker, F138, is a combination of the year of entry 2013 and a nod to Ferrari's final V8 entry before the switch to V6 engines in 2014. The most obvious changes include the removal of the step in the nose, as well as the oddly shaped front wing supports. The F138 won 2 races in 2013, the Chinese Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix. However, because of Red Bull's domination, they finished third in the Constructors' Championship with 354 points, 6 points behind second-placed Mercedes. The Scuderia Toro Rosso STR12. The Toro Rosso STR12 was designed by Scuderia Toro Rosso for the 2017 season. For the first 14 races, it was driven by Daniil Kvyat and Carlos Sainz Jr. At the 2017 Australian Grand Prix, the vehicle made its competitive debut. After a year with 2015 spec Ferrari engine the year before, Toro Rosso switched back to Renault engines. Technically, the car has design cues that are identical to those found on the Mercedes AMG F1 W08. It has a comparable narrow nose cone and front wing support that is close together. An S-duct is featured in the nose cone, same as on the F1W07, with remarkably comparable inlet and outlet apertures. The STR12's inventive ideas impressed many, not least because the team's budget is a long cry from that of leading teams like Mercedes and Ferrari. Lastly, the McLaren MCL33. The McLaren MCL33 is a significant car in McLaren's history since the team switched to Renault power units after 3 years of bad luck with Honda engines. This gave the team more confidence in having a reliable and performing engine in the back of the car. This car was designed to compete in a 2018 Formula One season. Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn were the team's drivers when it was introduced with a papaya orange livery on February 23, 2018. The MCL33 features a new halo safety device as well as a reworked aerodynamic package. McLaren also went to the trouble of optimizing the new Renault-sourced power plant. Before wrapping this all up, let's take a look at one of the engines used in a Formula One car. This is the Ferrari Tipo 052 engine. This was used in a 2003 season. The Type 052 wasn't used until the 5th race when the F2003 GA made its debut. This was due to the chassis of the F2003 GA being built around the engine. The specification used at the start of the season produced roughly 200 more revolutions per minute than the Type 051 predecessor. The engine design and operations were led by Paolo Martinelli and Giles Simon. This engine was a further development of the preceding generation. At 18,300 RPM, the 3.0-liter V10 engine developed 845 horsepower. There were regular expansion stages throughout the season, and the experts expected an output of 880 to 950 horsepower at up to 19,000 RPM, despite Ferrari's certified output of 845 horsepower at 18,300 RPM. Which team do you think would win this Formula One season? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's have a conversation. As always, we thank you for supporting our channel. If you haven't yet, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and valuable content like this. We'll see you in the next video.